Hello, welcome to another episode of Cubs on Tap. My mouse doesn't want to work. It's not even a mouse. It's just my old finger doesn't want to work. I am Joey at Joey Knows Nothing. I'm joined by my co-host Tyler at Teddy Freddy 270. We are Cubs on Tap. Ron Luce and Juice and Nick are not on this episode today, and that's why you have me not understanding where the mute button is and how to turn it off. But we are here to recap a Cubs 5-3 loss to the White Sox, who apparently don't suck when they play at Wrigley. And even though they just got swept out of the joint against the Milwaukee Brewers and their bullpen was bad against them, somehow they come in here and play the Cubs, and their bullpen is shut down, locked down for, what was it, from the fifth inning on. So, anyways, Cubs lose 5-3. Tyler, how are you doing tonight, man?
Uh, a little bit about me. On my days off from like my job, I move houses. I do home moving. And I moved a house today. And the weather wasn't awful. It was hot. I mean, I sweated and all that kind of good stuff, but it wasn't miserable. But anyways, it was, it kind of sucked. Hell, I even got galled right smack in the taint. If you know, you know. But thank you to Desitin. No free ads. I'm good. But with all that being said, all that, galled gooch and all, I was like, I'm going to go home tonight. Wife's going to make these Mexican bowls for dinner. And I'm going to sit on the back porch with the TV out and watch the Cubs smack around the White Sox. That was my thought today. Just, halfway through moving. And yeah, man, it was just a freaking swift kick to the balls.
Again.
Yeah, again. And so, yeah, here we are. But physically, I guess I'm good.
That's absolutely awful, Tyler. I'm sorry to hear that. Because I know what that feeling feels like as every other guy in this
Who would
world.
have thought? Who would have thought 3 minutes in would be talking about Destin? Which, by the way, if Destin people are watching, which they probably watch Cubs on Tap, hell, give us a call. Give us a call. We'll become a sponsor. Become a sponsor for us because let's be honest, you guys probably haven't had a Destin commercial on a baseball podcast yet. So you're welcome. But anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, it's like pet supplies, like who would have thought that would be on, we'd get that sponsor too. So, like look at you just making things happen here for Cubs on Tap with the sponsors. Maybe that's
through the wins and all the losses like tonight.
Well, we need something to pick us up because it felt like a swift kick in the nuts, the way this game unraveled. And watching it's like early on you felt a little uneasy. Hendricks comes out there and he's not quite as sharp as he has been and he's shown to be early on in the game. He's missing spots. He's just a little off location wise, but they weren't beating up the ball terribly. And then he works his way out of that first inning, only giving up the one run. And then
thankfully only one run. Yeah.
Thankfully, yeah, he got out of that, kind of worked his way out of that, got Andrew Vaughn to ground out. And then, ended up giving up a couple runs there. I think it was the second or third inning. But, right off the bat, we'll get into the bats there for the Cubs too, but it just looked a lot worse than how he was actually pitching because he settled in there and then gave you 6 strong innings, only 3 runs allowed. And I mean, for the 4th through the 6th inning, he was really good. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, the hard hit balls, like you look at the box score, Tyler, and I'm looking and I'm like, Okay, Sox out hit the Cubs 10-5. But you look at how their hits were, how they got their hits. The Cubs hard hit, is that even the way to put that? They out hard hit the White Sox 10-4. So, like, you look at the hard hits compared to the box score of actual hits, it's completely reversed of how the teams were actually hitting in comparison to each other. So, anyways, we'll get into the bats, but Tyler, maybe some of your initial thoughts of how Hendricks did, and just how things shook out overall as the game kind of unraveled.
I agree. It wasn't as bad as he didn't do as bad as early on, anyways, as you may have thought watching the game. But yeah, that the early jam sucked. It was nice to see him get out of it. But it's like, let me ask you this. Like, does he get old? I get it. The whole, Kyle Hendricks, giving up the run in the first inning over and over. I wish I had that stat in front of me as far as how many first inning runs he's given up, not only this season, but in his career. But it's like, Jesus Christ, it's got to stop. Like, I get it. It was just one run, and Chicago's facing Tiki Timbo or whatever. And so you're assuming that we're going to score 15 runs off the guy because the dude, he leads the league. He basically leads the league in walk rate. And I want to say maybe walks in general. I don't know, but or as close to it. But with that being said,
and he had 5 tonight too. He walked a lot of guys tonight.
Yeah. And with that being said, it's like the old cliche that goes, "That's baseball for you," which is true. But yeah, I don't. Like I said, Hendricks wasn't bad tonight. 6 innings, 3 runs. That's great. Good for him. Should have scored more, obviously. But watching that, and this is not really like a knock on this is not a knock on Kyle Hendricks. But watching this just makes me go back and think, especially, and I'm sure we'll get into it later, especially with the news of Stroman being injured and Smiley's demotion. I watch games like this and I just think, man, maybe we should have picked up another starter before the deadline. But with that being said, Hendricks wasn't bad. 6 innings, 3 runs. A lot of soft contact. Luis Robert hit a ball. Was it Robert that hit the ball off of him? I think. Yeah. But yeah, not awful.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you though. It's tough to say with the starting pitcher market, right? Like, what would it have taken to go get somebody that would be like an impactful starter? But I do, you're kind of running out of options here, as Stroman's start when he was eligible to come off tomorrow now has been pushed back. I think they said it was the rib. Was it a right rib?
Yeah, right rib discomfort.
So, like, it does make you wonder, especially like you said with Smiley, getting demoted to the bullpen, and I just don't know. Like, outside of Tyon the last time out wasn't that great. Outside of Steele, really, it's like, there are some question marks there. I do feel good about Tyon moving forward, I think, and even Stroman once he gets back healthy. I think he was dealing with some discomfort there too. Yeah. Still is, obviously, but
hey, with all that being said, though, once again, Kyle Hendricks did not pitch bad tonight.
Right.
6 innings, 3 earned runs. Can't be mad about it. It would have been nice not to give up that run in the first inning. They answered back in the bottom of the first with the 2-run bomb, but still, it'd have been nice not to have that to kick off the game. But oh well.
I want to address this comment real quick too. Saul Garcia says salty fucks, and he's got the laughing emoji. Yes, Saul, we are salty, and I'll tell you why. Because the White Sox can't beat a regular team, but they come and then somehow figure out how to play baseball again at Wrigley Field. Like, again, it's not like they just blew the doors off the Cubs tonight, but you can't leave hangers up in the zone if you're Julian Merriweather late in the game to Luis Robert. Like, it just can't happen. But I mean, it's a tough. There were some good things that we saw too from the offense tonight from certain guys, but they didn't come through in the clutch either. There were some situations. You had, I think, Nico thrown out at second by Dahl, and good throw
though. Couldn't have thrown it any more perfect though. I mean, it was a perfect throw, but it was also nice to see Nico Horner get his 30th bag tonight.
Yeah.
Saya looked good tonight with the bomb, and even the out he made in the second inning, he hit it hard, like it was on a line, but just right at. I believe he hit it to left, but it was just right at him. But yeah, there was a couple of good positive things offensively.
I like that you mentioned Nico's steal that he did successfully get, because he was the first Cubs player since 2012. I saw a Marquee tweet. Marquee tweeted out, first Cubs player, I believe, since 2012 to have 30-plus stolen bases in a season. So,
nice.
And to like toot the own horn here, but preseason, remember the show we did preseason? I said, I think Nico's going for 30-plus bags.
No.
I didn't think he was going to do it on August 15th.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe it'd be nice to see him get 40, go for 40.
Why not?
Why not? But offensively, there were some good things, but at the same time, once again, Tiki Toussaint should have put up more runs against that guy. That guy should be bagging groceries at the local IGA down the street from me. Like, not a good pitcher. We did the same thing, I believe it was last week with the Mets when they faced back-to-back guys. I want to say it was Carrasco and the lefty. I can't think of his name. Both had big fat ERAs. Both had given up a boatload of runs in their last 14-plus innings. And again, I guess that's baseball for you, but still, gotta put up runs and sit, in these type of games where we quote unquote should, especially this time of year. I know maybe that's asking for a lot. I don't know, but at this time of year, being in a playoff race, being in a division race, you've got to capitalize on. And I get the season's not over. I don't want people to get on here and listen to this and listen to us talk and think that we're sitting here saying, "Oh man, the season's over. Just pack it up right now." We're not saying that at all. But like we've talked about for the past couple of shows, with this schedule, me and you were talking about it before the show even started. This schedule we've got compared to like what the Brewers have and other teams, like this is our golden opportunity by the end of this month when we face the Brewers, I think they're playing in Milwaukee. Get to that point, golden opportunity to maybe even be in first place by then. So once again, say it again. The season's not over. We're not saying that. It's just games like this, you've got to take advantage of.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to kind of right the ship here, and you're not trailing by a ton of games. I mean, if the Brewers wind up winning tonight, which I don't know the score, I think it was 1-1 before we hopped on here. Even if they wind up winning tonight, you're 4.5 games back of the division. You're still right there in the wild card. I think you said they're a game back in that wild card. You're in it. Like, one game doesn't make a season. We know that.
But at the same time, I also so in the 9th inning after I think Ross got thrown out in the 7th, but Adbert down 4-3. I like the move going with Adbert in the 9th. Especially with the off day tomorrow, I like and they understood. Everybody knows it. Everybody in the building tonight knew it. Tonight was an important game to win. And, didn't fall our way. But still, I like the fact that they're approaching these games like that. We see a guy like him in the 9th inning instead of a Michael Fulmer,
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they're going for that, even though they're down by 1. I like the fact that, hey, we've got to throw in our number 1 bullpen guy in this opportunity. Let's win this game. And I think I said off game tomorrow. I meant off game off day on Thursday. Sorry.
Thursday, right? I knew what you meant. But that makes sense because they had the off day yesterday, and then the off day on Thursday. So you're getting, you're playing tonight, you're playing tomorrow, but he could easily pitch in these two games and then have another off day before another series. So it makes a lot of sense to kind of go to him in that situation where you need to keep the game close. And, unfortunately, Adbert gave up a run there in that inning, but I mean, the guy's human, and it's not now it's almost like he's been used to these clutch save opportunity situations. So it's like, does that affect it? You know what I mean? So it's like,
and maybe to an extent, it probably does a little bit.
It could. I mean, I'm not saying that it did for sure, but like, because you're still in the game, you're a run down, and he knows he needs to slam the door there too. But like, he's a guy that feeds off that situation, and he's been saying that as much in his interviews. But I mean, to your point, like, this is a very good stretch of games here for the Cubs to be able to capitalize. A stretch where they should be able to, anyways, against the Brewers, because the Brewers have a tough stretch and the Cubs have a pretty easy schedule here until they meet each other. So you'd like to see them take advantage. At the very least, you got to split tomorrow, I think, against the White Sox.
Got to split tomorrow.
It's going to be. We'll kind of preview that matchup here as we go, but I want to talk a little bit about the offense for a second. So. Hap, the big 2-run homer. It's good to see him hit some homers. He's hit 7 now since the All-Star break, kind of finding that power stroke a little bit like we've been begging for out of him. What are your thoughts on him tonight, but just like in general recently? Because it seems like he's a little bit better.
It's nice to see. I'll be honest. I wasn't expecting the power surge that he had that he's had since the All-Star break, but at the same time, Ian Happ's a pretty good second half player. So in that same sense, maybe it's not super surprising, but yeah, it's nice to see these past couple of weeks. If you're a Cubs fan on Twitter, it's one of the things on Twitter that's been said all season long. Why is Ian Happ in the 3-hole? Why is Ian Happ in the 3-hole? And I've been the same way, but let's be honest. David Ross isn't moving him out of the 3 spot. We can all sit here on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it and say, "Oh man, why is Happ in the 3-hole? Why is Happ in the 3-hole?" We can make up our own lineups however we want to with Happ like in the deeper in the or down further in the lineup and blah blah blah. But it's not happening. With that being said, he does get on base a lot. He gets on base and. Good for Cody Bellinger, who's crushing the ball right now. And so, yeah, it's great to see. But at the same time, guys staying in the 3-hole. And whether you like it or not, it is what it is. Yeah, sometimes he swings and misses a lot. We noticed it. What was it, the Mets series when it was the bottom of the ninth or the top of the ninth with 2 outs and you had Happ up that whole shenanigan that went on and stuff like that. But he's not, like I said, he's not the guy. Like in that situation at bottom of the ninth, you need a guy to get a hit. You need a guy to you gotta have contact in a situation. I don't know about that, but again, it's nice to see the power surge that he's had since the All-Star break.
Yeah. And now, as you were just talking, now I kind of remember you being the kind of not Hap believer.
Oh, I have been. I'll raise my hand right here. Yeah, I wrote an article. I believe at the beginning of the season, like 6 reasons. I believe it was 6 reasons why the Cubs should not extend Ian Happ. And I want to say like a day later, they extended him. Which I'm not knocking his extension or anything like that. It's just like I wasn't on the Happ train, and it's not that I'm all on board with Ian Happ right now, and it's also not that I'm like, F Ian Happ, blah, blah, blah. He's just not the traditional 3-hole. He's not the guy in the lineup that I feel like if I'm a opposing team's pitcher, I'm not fearing Ian Happ in that lineup. But with that being said, he's proven in the second half since the All-Star break that he can hit the ball out of the park.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'll take an Ian Happ hitter on my team all day long. Like what he does provide the on base percentage wise, just his style of hitting, I like it. I do think it needs to come with that more power though, and that's what he's providing now. So um, I like it from that sense, especially from a corner outfield spot, right? That's what we've been
Yeah.
begging for from, I'm going to lead right into it, Seiya Suzuki, who he's starting to look more and more
Yeah.
like the Seiya Suzuki that we've been wanting and expecting or projecting to be this season, kind of taking that next step. And maybe the time off, sitting the bench a little bit, maybe that just really got him back on track, allowed him to ease his mind a little bit, maybe rethink things or just think less, loosen up there in the clubhouse. You saw him on the bench, cracking jokes and just doing his whole thing. He's starting to look pretty damn good up there in the box, like as far as hitting the ball hard, launched one again tonight. Yeah, thoughts on Seiya? Like, I think this
Love
is
it.
like I feel like this is huge if he can get
Oh,
back on track.
it's huge. It's like the what's been said for the past few days. If Seiya is healthy, a healthy Seiya makes this lineup 10 times better. When Seiya Suzuki is hitting the ball, when Seiya Suzuki is being Seiya Suzuki that we saw last year, the guy that worked the count, made good pitch, had good at bats and everything like that, and now it looks like he's healthy. He's crushed. Hell, in the past 7 games, he has over a 1,000 OPS. Love to see it. And the dude, even his outs, he's hit the ball hard,
Mm-hmm.
hard, and you just love to see it. So the best version of this Cubs lineup is one with a healthy Seiya Suzuki in it that's hitting the ball, and he's doing that right now. So hopefully this is something that continues for the rest of August, for the rest of September, and hell, hopefully October. But yeah, love to see it. I think he hit his 11th tonight. Be nice to see him get close to 20 by the end of the year. That'd be awesome. I know we just got a month and a half, but still, it'd be cool to see him try to at least get close to it. But yeah, man, freaking exciting. I know most of the season he's been in and out, kind of injuries are a main big reason because of that. But it's nice to see him finally get healthy, and hopefully this is the version of Seiya Suzuki that we were talking about in the preseason, at the end of last year, all that.
Yeah, and he also had a really nice sliding catch tonight too. That was
He did. He had an awesome catch tonight.
that catch, and dude, he popped up so fast. Like, nah,
Yeah.
you're not tagging on me. Like, I, I like to see
He
him
has a he
engage.
has a really he has a really good arm. He has an underrated arm.
Oh, very good arm. Yeah, he
He
can he
does.
can gun you. He can gun you, and he's athletic enough to make all the plays out there in right field. I mean, sometimes you kind of wonder if he's just judging it right at times, but like
Yeah.
he's had a pretty damn good glove for the most part all year um, out there, and so just getting the bat right, like you're saying, Tyler, like it's monumental to this team's success, I think, because I like before we hopped on here, I believe that the team's best lineup, like right now, and I don't know if I'm saying anything that no one else is thinking. I think it's out there. I think people are thinking this is Jamer at third, Belly at first, Talk in center, leading off every day. I don't care if it's a lefty. He's been fine against lefties. And Seiya Suzuki hitting the ball well in right field.
Yeah.
Like that's your best lineup. And Jan behind the plate, Miguel Amaya switching off, that every fifth day, whatever you need to do. To me, that's the Cubs' best nine. I didn't even mention the guys that are locked in there because obviously it's Hap
No.
left, Dansby short, and Nico at second. But like
No.
Seiya is what makes this whole puzzle fit together. Seiya and Talkman. But if Talkman struggles, you can put Belly back in center if you have to. And I want to throw this comment out there. Potential for like a September call up after his big 2-run walk-off homer in Iowa tonight. PCA, Cubs have an ace in the hole. PCA has 4 homers, a 9-game hit streak, and just a hit and just hit a walk-off homer. That's what Scott Crawford says in the comments. So, I mean, you know,
that's the talk. That's the talk on X right now, isn't it?
X. I love how we got to call it X though.
I
Like,
know.
X Twitter. Like Elon Musk is trying. Elon's trying to make this a porn site. Like, what are we doing here?
But yeah. As far as PCA, yeah, that's the talk on Twitter tonight. As far as it's time to call up PCA and all that. And don't get me wrong, it's always exciting when your number one prospect. He looks like he looks like he's turned into the guy that he's evolving into this guy that people have expected him to be, people have predicted him to be, and all this, and that's great. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see PCA in a Cubs uniform this year, but at the same time, and I get it, he's on a 9-game hitting streak right now. He had the big walk-off home run tonight. He just had all this potential. I don't want the Cubs to make that move just for the sake of making that move because it's the number one prospect. It's the September call up and all that kind of stuff. Like, it has to be a thing where you can call him up, but hell, you don't have to start him. But at the same time, I get it when new guys get called up, debuts, all that kind of stuff. A lot of them struggle a little bit. You can't, if PCA is to get called up, David Ross can't risk giving him time to kind of figure it out, especially if we're still in a pennant race, if we're still in a playoff race, the playoff hunt, the division crown, and all that kind of stuff. Like, David Ross can't risk throwing him out there because right now, I mean, I feel like the chemistry's good. I feel like the chemistry's great. And imagine a guy like Mike Tauchman that, hey, we're benching you tonight because we're going to let PCA come up. Number one prospect or not, for a guy in Mike Tauchman, probably piss you off a little bit. Hey, I've been here most of the season. You see what I've done? And that's no knock on PCA. If PCA comes up and produces and all that, fine. Everybody will shut up. But at the same time, you can't risk calling him up, putting him in the lineup, and hoping that he does well and doesn't do well. And I think with that being said, Ross isn't going to mess around and do that. I don't think Ross is going to give him time to do that. I know he showed why is my mind gone blank? They just called down somebody. Maybe it was Killian. But it's it's like you know the situation your team's in right now. You know that it's not like seasons in the past this time of year where it's like, hey, we're going to call up all these September guys and throw them all in and see what we got and see what we don't got. Like, this is not that season to do that. And I'm not trying to say we don't know what we have in PCA. Obviously we do, but also debut, major league pitching, a whole lot different than AAA. So yeah, would love to see PCA, but at the same time, not for the sake of it risking a win, risking a loss, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the Cubs are in that unique kind of position of like you're pretty filled out in most areas of the lineup and the roster, and there's not a whole lot of openings right now. And to say that like someone's actually blocking PCA for the future, that's not the case. Like, PCA will be here eventually. PCA will find a spot. He will be playing center field every day for the Cubs, hopefully for a long time. But right now, like you're saying, Tyler, like it's not that time. Like it's you're in contention. You don't have time to figure this out. And I think people are throwing out the idea there that he could get called up as a potential defensive replacement and a pinch runner. But like, the guy's talent level is more than that too. And like, I don't really want him to be sitting the bench necessarily either. So like, if you call him up, fine. If he's a September call up, I'm for that because I think it makes the roster better in general. Even if it's like as a platoon or like, occasional player or
maybe swap him in and out in the lineup as far as like maybe swap him with Morel in the lineup.
Sure. I mean, The
I
only
know he's
problem is
frustrated.
like, I want him to get his everyday playing time too, because like he's still in that
Yeah,
development.
exactly.
And like the Reds, like I look at the Reds, for example, this year, right? Like the Reds were in a position where they didn't have guys blocking their prospects, so they were allowed to be very aggressive this season because they didn't have expectations. They had really no expectations going into the season of we're supposed to win. It's a huge shocker to the fan base, everybody in baseball that's an analyst. Huge shocker that they were as good as they were for that stretch. And, now they're not in first place. They're basically in the same spot the Cubs are. But, Ellie De La Cruz, McLean, you go down the list, Spencer Steer, who I think got a taste maybe last year. But like the guys that they've given opportunities to that have come up and given them a little boost for a while, they were in a much different position than I feel like the Cubs are in at this moment where you're not really looking for a huge boost. You're looking for like fine tuning the edges.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's a very good conversation to have because I mean I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him. I'm excited as hell.
Yes, I wouldn't be mad if they called him up and he started tomorrow. Like it's not going to piss me off. It's just that, like we said, I don't want it to risk. There's a lot of risks that go involved with that. And is it worth the risk right now? That's what they've got to figure out. And if it is, cool. If not, cool.
Yeah.
Make sure it's for the right reason and not just let's throw them up there. And they know that. I'm not sitting here trying to say they don't know what they're doing and all that kind of stuff, but it's got to be the right situation.
Yeah, hopefully they find that perfect spot, and when maybe that's not even this season. We'll have to see how that kind of shakes out, but it is exciting though. Like I don't know if you saw the MLE pipeline came out with the rankings as far as farm systems go, and the Cubs are right there at number 4. I believe it was number 4, but they had 4 of the top 5 teams were from the NL Central for farm systems. The St. Louis Cardinals were like down there in the 20s. So hey, fuck yourself. Yeah, hate to see it. So yeah, I think this Central Division, like especially at least on the NL side of things, we got the Sox on the other side in that division in the AL, but the NL side of things, like this could be very competitive for quite a while here. And I know that the other teams don't quite have the money that the Cubs do and can afford to shell out there in free agency, but like it's going to be interesting, man. Like you start talking farm systems and we know how that can play out. It can all burst to flames and these guys can come up and spoil out. But yeah, I mean, we talk about PCA and these guys, and I hate to go 100% into prospect talk when we are in this chase because this season's very much still like there's a lot to play for here, Tyler. And I don't know. I kind of want to get your final thoughts here about this game that we're breaking down tonight because I want to look ahead to tomorrow's game.
Final thought. Yeah, should have pounded on Tiki Timbo. Should have crushed him. Just gotta take advantage of tomorrow, man. Got to take advantage of tomorrow, and it's like we said, it sucks losing to a team like the White Sox. That just a few years ago, all they ever talked about was, "Oh, this is our World Series window. We've got a squad. We're going to be good for the next several years." And that whole team, they basically just blew that shit up. And the thing was, like, their window wasn't really even open. It was almost like it was like cracked, and then someone walked into the room and was like, "Good God, it's cold in here," and they just slammed the window shut and locked it. And here they are now.
Yeah, someone felt a breeze. That was the old woman breeze.
It's like, what is that? Wait a minute. No, shut the damn window. Shut it. Yeah. And they basically did.
Jerry shut it real fast.
White Sox fans, they probably agree deep down. They know it. And yeah, the only good player on the team, Luis Rivera, hit the bomb. If it's going to be anybody, it's him. I mean, hell, like
Yeah.
that's his 32nd home run of the year. I'm sure, and to be honest, he's probably miserable there. And so is Dylan Cease too. So
We'll take him back.
yeah, sure, why not?
We'll take him back. We probably could have made that trade. Um, we're not going to get into that though. That's a sore spot, I think. But anyways, yeah, no, I mean, their competitive window was a little crack, got slammed. Wow, just hate to see it again. You just hate to see it. But Tyler, tomorrow, Cubs are going to play again against the White Sox. By the way, Ron was in attendance. Sorry, Ron, that you had to be in attendance for a loss, but it is what it is because I know he was there trying to bring the good vibes, and I'm sure he was still having a good time out in the bleachers tonight. But not as good of a time when you lose, obviously, but that's what it is. So tomorrow the Cubs are going to play the Sox at Wrigley again. They announced during the game, as you told me, Tyler, and I missed that, Javier Assad is going to start tomorrow's game because Stroman was pushed back, not coming off the IL yet. And tomorrow for the White Sox, they are going to have I just had it pulled up.
Clevenger,
that's right.
Yeah.
Mike Clevenger pitching mid-threes ERA against Assad, who has been absolutely nails lately. This guy doesn't matter the role. I believe it was his last time out, 7 innings, strong.
Yeah, 7 innings last Friday against the Blue Jays.
Last Friday against the Blue Jays was just dime. I mean, this guy's had what is it, like an ERA in the ones over his last however many starts or just outings, period.
Probably, yeah. I would probably be close to it, yeah.
Guy just does whatever role he's supposed to do or they're asking him to do. And I love it because he's a guy that really, you saw the big spring training that Hayden Wesneski had, and it almost felt like, okay, Javier Assad and him are battling it out for that 5th starter role, really, because Sampson was struggling. And, now he's not even, I don't think he's with the team. I know they traded him to the Rays, and then the Rays, did they release him or designate him for assignment? I think
they might have DFA'd him, I believe.
I don't know if he came back to. I don't know what he's doing right now, but the point is, like, those two were battling it out, and it felt like Wesneski had all the steam as far as like prospect pedigree and like just how he looked at the end of the last season. But Assad's been really good for the better part of towards the end of last year, and then he started out rough this year. But outside of that, like, he's been awesome.
I like Assad. Assad has been good in basically he's been good in every role that the Cubs have given him. Yeah, like you said, since last year. Last year, the second half of the season, had a strong finish. He had several starts where he threw basically 6+ innings. The beginning of this year, kicked things off. Yeah, in the race with Wesneski in the battle for the 5th spot. Went to Team Mexico in the Baseball Classic, shoved for Team Mexico, and then he got banged up a little bit earlier this year, came back, and has just been, like you said, lights out. Last start, 7 innings pitched, 0-run ball against the freaking Blue Jays, who just last season people thought was going to be a World Series contender. They still could be, I guess. And so, yeah, tomorrow, Assad, going to need the same thing. I know that might be a lot to ask for, but it's going to need the same thing. If this team's going to have any shot at winning the division, I think you agree, just like everybody else. The key to this team being a playoff team is going to be that starting rotation. And yeah, so Assad's going to have to step up. Like you said, Stroman, chance he may be back on the IL. I know they said Sunday, if everything went right, that he would make Wednesday start. Apparently Sunday after his start, he thought maybe, I know Taylor McGregor talked about it today or tonight, saying something like maybe he thought it was something he ate, and it may have been just that. Come to find out, it was actually his rib. So not good. Got to have that guy back. Got to have that guy throwing. And so, yeah, the team, especially, and you've also got Drew Smiley, who just got demoted to the bullpen. People can say, oh, well, he's going to go to the bullpen to maybe that'll be better for him, blah, blah, blah. He got demoted. We'll say it. And so, yeah, crucial. Javier Assad's going to have to be the Javier Assad that he was on Friday if this team's going to have any shot of making the playoffs. And, yeah.
Hey, maybe he's that guy, man. Maybe he's that guy.
Could
I
be.
hope.
It's crazy, but like you said, it's crazy how all offseason, all we were talking about was Wes Nesky being the fifth spot, Wes Nesky being the fifth starter.
Yeah.
And
I was one of them.
I think I was too. But you look at it now, putting their numbers side by side, I would say Assad's probably had a better season.
Oh,
they both kind of had that starter / bullpen type role, but gonna need both of those guys in West Nesky. It's crazy to think. It's crazy to think that at the beginning of the year we were talking about one or the other, and now it's like we need both of them desperately right now. And also, just on that kind of note, speaking of that, earlier today they announced Caleb Killian demoted or sent back down to AAA Iowa. I believe Michael Rucker got called back up today, so which kind of stinks. I know Caleb Killian, he only made 3 appearances with the Cubs this year. Had one good outing from relief, the other 2 not so hot. Kind of stinks because I was really hoping maybe he'd be a really good role player for this team in the second half of the season. But with that being said, again, with Rucker, who's had like a 5+ ERA so far this season, gonna need everybody on the staff to step up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe Killian does make a return here. I'm hoping that he does make a return at some point because I don't know. I don't think we've seen enough from him to rule him out as a potential, like, just piece, whether it's long term, whether it's whatever. I'm not a big believer in Michael Rucker.
I'm not either. That's why
every time he comes in the game, dude, I'm like, this better be a 4-run lead, or it better be a plus, or it better be 4 runs, you're down. Like,
I agree.
I don't want to see this guy in the game.
I agree. But again, tomorrow, Javier Assad, need it again out of you. I know they've got an off day on Thursday, so if you have to go to the bullpen, fine. But it would also be nice just for Assad's, just for Assad's sake, just for that starting rotation's sake. Love to see a long outing from him. Be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially after you did kind of burn through some pen tonight, even though Hendricks gave you 6, but your quality guys, Leiter, Junior, Merriweather, who didn't have a great night, obviously with the hanging pitch you left up there, but Al's alive.
Good. I will be honest though about Merriweather. He looked good before that. Just before that, he got 2 outs. I want to say he may have had 2 strikeouts before then. Maybe not. I may have lied about that. But he looked good. Yeah, 2 strikeouts. He looked good just before that hanging pitch. So maybe that's, and again, it's Luis Robert, their best hitter, one of the better hitters in the league right now. So whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's not.
And Leiter Jr. looked. Yeah, and Leiter Jr. looked good too tonight.
I was actually surprised that I noticed it during the game, and I mentioned it to my buddy. I was surprised that Merriweather went back to that breaking ball the very next pitch to Eloy, and he left it pretty much up. And I'm like, ugh, Eloy, he's got power. I'm like, if he just wanted to pull the trigger, if he was jumping, but he probably just wasn't expecting him to go right back to the breaking ball. So, okay, fair enough. Maybe I'm an idiot for even saying that. But, like, I was surprised that he went right back to the well very next pitch after the homer. Didn't hurt anything, but just something random that I noticed. But yeah, Tyler, I mean, so tomorrow, like, that's what the Cubs – sounds like that's the Cubs need to do, get a good start from Javier Assad. Obviously, get the bats going against Clevenger. Get into that bullpen again would be nice. I mean, Tukey, or you've been calling him Tiki Tebow, didn't last. Timbo. he didn't last very long.
There was some song or something in elementary school I remember hearing. I don't remember.
I don't know, but when you said Tiki, I was thinking, have you ever seen the movie Hardball with Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Who hasn't fucking seen it, right? Love it when you call it
Yeah.
There's that dude Tiki. He's like the gambler's friend. He's like
Keanu Reeves. Yeah, his friend. Yeah, the gambler. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out of the woods, Tiki. I'm out of the woods.
Side note about that, I'll be honest, there's only a few movies that make me tear up and cry. Most of them are dog movies, but I'll be honest, Hardball, when Keanu Reeves gives that speech at the funeral. Yeah. I got to change the subject. I'm gonna start crying, man. But yeah.
B-Baby Dies is the worst. Like the whole movie shifted, and I love that movie. But
that's a great movie.
Yeah, it does make me. It's a tearjerker for sure, in that sense. But no, you were calling Tiki Tebow, or Timbo. Geez. So it just reminded me of Tiki. Tiki. Is it Tiki or Tiki? I don't know which one from Hardball.
Tiki. I think it's Tiki.
Tiki. I'm out of the woods.
I don't know. Keanu Reeves. He may have a different accent. I don't know. Yeah. Close enough.
But yeah, close enough. So the Cubs got to get, like I was saying, though, Toussaint didn't last very long tonight. Get into that bullpen again, because they're not this good. Like, the bullpen was nails for the White Sox tonight, but they're not this good, like regular basis. They got some guys that are pretty talented. Santos was good at the end. What's the guy's name? Ramsey seems pretty decent. But
who was that? The guy that finished it off?
I think it was Santos, right? Was that Santos?
Santos, yeah.
Santos is pretty good, pretty solid. He's had a good season too. But yeah, get into that bullpen because they burned through some guys tonight, and I don't think they're going to be as fresh tomorrow. Maybe you can get to them a little bit. But yeah, Tyler, we haven't really done this. I don't know. I mean, you guys might have been doing this still. I just haven't been on here in a minute. You got to fly the W for tomorrow? Who's your fly the W?
Fly the W. Let's see. I'm going to go with, I'm going with Dansby. I wanted to say Seiya, but he hit his home run tonight. I wanted to say Bellinger, but that would be the easy pick. I'm going to go with Dansby. He had that freaking nasty series, I think, to kick off this Cubs White Sox series this season at the White Sox Stadium. I think he had a 2-homer game, maybe 3 for 3 night with 2 home runs, maybe. I think he's hitting the bomb tomorrow. I think he's hitting the bomb.
I love that call.
You got a hunch.
I love that call. I think he's made for these big, like, your team needs to win.
Yeah, he's made for these rivalry games, even though it's the White Sox. But anyways, yeah, he's made for it.
Yeah. Hey, did you just say it's not a rivalry, Tyler? It's not. It's a one-sided rivalry. They think it's a rivalry. This is their Super Bowl. This is their World Series.
That is true.
So, anyways, I'm going to go with damn. You're right, though. It kind of feels like it's cheating if you take Bellinger, so I don't think I can do that.
Take him. He had that ball that almost went out tonight. Maybe it goes out tomorrow. Screw it. Do it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Candyman was going to go yard tonight, though, so I feel like I was a day early. I'm going to stick with the Candyman.
Yeah, he hasn't had one in a couple of games, yeah. Has he had one? He's had one. Has he had one with Chicago, or has he had 2?
One for sure.
I know one for sure.
I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, he's due. I believe he's due. Yeah, I like it.
I'm about to look it up.
He looked good at third base tonight. He had some tough plays, and he looked good.
You know what? He's a pretty underrated defensive third baseman. I'll say that. Like his numbers over there don't look too shabby if you just if you're an analytics nerd.
He might not win a Gold Glove, but you can trust him over there.
Yeah, he's definitely dependable. So he has 1 homer with the Cubs so far. That was against Atlanta.
He's
That
due
home. So yeah, he's due, right? That was August 5th.
tomorrow.
Book it.
Book it.
Swanson's going yard. Candyman's going yard. The Cubs are winning. They're going to split this series and move on because that's what good teams do. They just move on, peel off the Band-Aid, get rid of these bastards, send them back to the South Side, and let's go win a freaking playoff spot. Tyler, this has been great. Cubs on Tap is provided to you guys by the On Tap Sports Network. Go to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports needs. Go check out all the golf content at On Tap Golf on Twitter because Jack, Juice, the whole gang is there covering the BMW Championship at Olympia Fields Country Club. It's going to be an awesome time this week. I'm super excited to look forward to that. Just right around the corner. I mean, and these guys are there. They've been covering the event. So definitely go check that out. But yeah, we're Cubs on Tap. At Cubbies on Tap on Twitter. Tyler's at TeddyFreddy270. I am at Joey Knows Nothing. You can follow Juice on Tap, Loose on Tap, Juice on Tap, Loose on Tap. And then Nick, what's Nick's handle? Do you know it? Nick _ on Tap, maybe?
Me on the spot. Maybe he'll be on the show. I believe he'll be here tomorrow. So you'll have, you know what? Tune in tomorrow.
You'll find out.
Tune in tomorrow, and you will get his Twitter handle or X handle or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You'll get it.
Makes it sound like it's a former. You'll get his X Twitter handle.
Yeah. X. Not regular, his X Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Naughty.
Nick's now a porn star. Nick, keep it in your pants, buddy.
Yeah. There's children that listen to this show, man. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So, yeah, we're going to get out of here. Tyler, but first we need to do that the only way we do every single time. What do you say?
Just for the sake, just for the time of year, fuck the White Sox and fuck the Cardinals.
Yeah, fuck the Cardinals for sure. Fuck anybody who likes either one of these teams. Just fuck you.
Yeah.
And let's go Cubs.